what's going on, guys? Yeah, I really like this podcast. Yeah, I am seriously like it. It's just missionary. So cool with that. Anyone who wants to help us and just make an intro and outro, please reach out to us.
No, I like the intro, dude. It's I like the music.
Salud. What a whiskey you guys have. Okay, now this right here, what Jose has. He has a unique drink because this is something that I used to buy when I was in Germany.
Really? Rheinstein for me in Rheinstein at the liquor stores in Rheinstein, dude.
Really? Yeah, dude. I don't.
I've never seen it, man. I've never seen that whiskey.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude.
There was actually, I like that one, Will. That one.
That one was a good one. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Cheers.
guys, go ahead. Cheers. I actually went to the office. I didn't bring my drinks.
With the cider with.
Hey guys, if you guys been watching this, please recommend what kind of whiskey you guys like, because we definitely love to taste different types of whiskeys and bourbons and everything, So, all right, guys. So today I know that a while back I posted about we was gonna do an interview with someone else, work culture, but last minute changes. So we had to adjust like we do in the military. We always adjust,
and overcome.
And overcome.
Hey, but
now, go ahead.
Work culture, bro. Work culture.
Yeah.
Show up.
Numero uno. Actually, communicate. Then communicate
Show
first.
up and communicate.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so today,
you know what emphasized this? Remember when the Marine rapper came on?
Yeah.
He knew he didn't know he had a fly and he was gonna go out of town, but he still went on live.
Yeah, he did.
At that restaurant.
He was out on the streets.
Yeah.
With Topher.
Yeah.
Then we had it. That was pretty cool.
And they still, I think they were eating, I think, or they were waiting for eat or something too, and so they made it happen. But anyways, adapt and overcome. And today, for those that are in the Los Angeles County, Los Angeles City, I mean, even any county,
Orange County, San Bernardino, everybody shows up to this one.
Yeah, so it's the LA Collaborative, right? And today we have an amazing guest, Air Force. She's in the Air Force Reserves, Master Sergeant Aimee Bravo, or Aimee Pila-Bravo. And I don't want to mix it.
Her career, she was Aimee Bravo, so let's not take that away. Her entire accolades in the military, she was Aimee Bravo, or Staff Sergeant Bravo, and then now she just got her promotion to Master Sergeant Bravo. So, and
awesome.
My wife.
Where's she at?
Yeah, where she's at. We're just waiting.
She disappeared.
We're waiting for the confetti or something for you to throw or something.
I thought you were gonna do a little.
We can do
wee. So I gotta say that when I first went to the LA Collaborative a couple years ago, I can say there was a lot of great information for someone that I started out, getting to know the community and the LA. It's great stuff, and I am super excited that you actually are working with the LA Collaborative. Making things happen because we're shakers and movers, right?
Well, so not only working with you, actually run it. So
yes, I'm the program manager. For
okay,
the
awesome. All right, so I'm not steal your thunder. It's all yours.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Okay, so how I started. So like Jose was saying, I joined the Air Force in 2011. I got out of active duty in 2015, and then I joined the reserves. And then, just like so many other veterans out there, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and my fun employment benefits about to run out. So I decided to enroll in school. So I went to get my master's in social work at USC. And my second year is when I did the internship. Hi, Don. I did my internship at the School of Social Work Center for Innovation and Research for military veterans and their families. And so that's where I kind of got it started with the Los Angeles Veteran Collaborative. So as an intern, I was just kind of helping, on the sidelines, just running the social media. And then after I graduated, I actually got hired on to continue helping in that role and then running the Los Angeles Veterans Orientation, which coincidentally enough is how I met my husband. One of the orientations I was running. In fact, right, Pedro, you were there.
Yeah. What? Yes, I was there.
And then, So afterwards, I ended up having to deploy. So I left USC and I left on a deployment to Kuwait for 6 months. So that position was no longer available to me, but I still wanted to participate. I still wanted to be involved. So I was doing it on a voluntary basis and, just continuing that passion. And then I got offered the position while USC is no longer going to be hosting the Los Angeles Veterans Collaborative. It's now going to be under Southern California Grant Makers, and I'm working with them to facilitate that transition and take over the program.
So, because we just got an email from USC. When is it not going to be part of USC?
So it should be. USC is helping us with the transition. I mean, they're amazing about it. They're still planning to be very heavily involved in the collaborative, helping with the research component of it. And so May 1st is their official, no longer USC's responsibility. They're still going to maintain the Los Angeles Veterans Orientation, from my understanding, but the collaborative now is moving towards the goal of becoming its own separate entity. But as of right now, it will be housed under the Southern California Grant Makers, working with DMH and their new VPAN program and kind of helping to create the Unitas platform.
So I don't know who wants to talk.
Go ahead.
Go, Jose.
So what is exactly what the LA Collaborative?
I was going to ask that. Good question.
That's what I was going to ask too.
So the Los Angeles.
You want the credit, bro? Another star for you. Go.
No. Yes.
It's a network of private, government, public entities that are working together to help veterans and their families, and that is helping fill in the gaps. So we have several different working groups that are specifically targeting the things that we know veterans need after their transition. And we're talking about housing and homelessness. We're talking about career development, families and children, faith-based, mental health, behavioral health, and wellness. We also have our women veterans. So, we understand that there's certain things that veterans need when they get out, and their family members as well. And that's what we're working on as a community. So instead of competing for the services, we're working together, sharing information and making sure that we actually help veterans in need. So that's what it is.
The one question when I used to attend the collab out at USC, is there any VA participation in this, like Department of Veteran Affairs or CalVet? Because I mean, we're in California, of course.
Yes, to both.
And how do they participate? What is their function or role there?
So again, most of the organizations that are with us are providing information. They're providing the research that we're using to kind of dictate what our next steps are. And they're also bringing representatives from those communities to be like, hey, this is what we're doing. So the last conversation we had, we had the Department of Mental Health talking about COVID vaccinations and the access to them. So it's just a huge component. Everybody's supposed to be involved, and that was the goal. So, the Department of Mental Health has been working really hard. They got funding from the state in order to create the VPAN, the Veteran Peer Access Network, and that's closely tying into what we're doing with the collaborative as well. So we're growing and we're making it something else.
So right now with COVID happening, because I know when we used to go, Tenhai used to go to the LA Collab. It used to be in person, and then you have breakout groups into different offices and stuff. So how is it working now?
So like you guys said, adapt and overcome, we went virtual. So we're using the Zoom platform in order to host our meetings. And we still have our breakout groups available so we can continue the discussion. It doesn't end just because of COVID. So we have no tentative plan as of yet of when we're going to go back to in person or if we're going to do a hybrid. But as of right now, we're still going. It's the second Wednesday of every month, and that will not change.
No. So how does someone get involved? To sign up or to ask questions?
So there's several platforms. I mean, you can email us at the lavetscollab@gmail.com. You can go to the website, losangelesveteranscollaborative.com. You can go on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The handle is LA Vets Collab. We're there. We've always been there. And like I said, we're connected to over 300 organizations in Los Angeles. And everyone's ready and willing to help.
That's awesome.
What about sorry, just back to that the question with CalVet. How are they involved? Are they involved at all?
They are, yes. CalVets is very heavily involved. I know they work with us when it comes to employment opportunities that are coming up with their very specific women base that they have. So CalVets is heavily involved. We have a lot of participants, especially in our women's working group. But yeah, they're there, especially in career advancement as well. They're always hosting job opportunities, thorough resume building.
All right, awesome.
If you name an organization, more than likely they're somehow connected to the collaborative, because that's what we want, right? We don't want anyone left out. We want everyone working on a united front to get veterans the services that they need.
Now, earlier today, you were talking about the ETS portion of it, so they wanted to get in touch with individuals that are ETSing or separating from the military.
Yes. So I'm not an expert on ETS to be able to comment too much on it. I just know it's a program that they're working on with the DoD to get veteran members before they transition out.
Oh, wow.
So you're talking about like the kind of like the skill bridge program in a sense, as far as like helping
more the
members getting out. Yeah.
I'm sorry if I might overstep, but I think it's more of a like going into the TAPS program and seeing all those individuals that are transitioning out of the military, getting their information and subsidizing the information that the TAPS program is lacking because it lacks a shit ton of information.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
providing that to the veterans that are going into the LA County and the surrounding counties within California, Southern California, to help them out with transitioning.
Yeah, so again, it's from my understanding, it's a pilot program. I can't really speak on it. I'm not an expert on the subject, but if need be, if you guys wanted someone to talk about the ETS program and what their goals are, I'd be more than happy to connect you as well.
You know, I think that's something that's really needed, because it's, you know, one thing about 10 HUD is all about being proactive than being reactive to the problem. And so it's all about prepping individuals to get ready to transition out, so they don't have to fall in the chronic homeless stage. Just like in the military, right? When we go into boot camp, you know, they train us before we go to war, right? Yeah. So same thing. Preventative, right? So yeah, absolutely. And I think it's amazing. I think it's a great thing what you guys are doing. You know?
So we're just encouraging most organizations to join the Unitas platform. Because again, I mean, like I said, we've been around for forever. And usually what happens is we get in contact with a veteran, and you know, that veteran says, hey, I need help with housing. And most of us are like, hey, I know someone who works in housing. Let me connect you to that person. And they'll get connected. But then what you don't realize is the person you connected them with is like, well, I only house women with children under 13, and you're a woman with a child that's 16. So now the person has to find someone else to connect them to. And unfortunately, playing that game of telephone makes it difficult and kind of makes it hard to navigate through the services, which is why they created the Unitas platform. It's like we can now monitor where that veteran is going, making sure they go to the place where they need to be and see who connects with them. And now there's a little more accountability with it in regards to our service organizations being attached to that program. And that's why we're just encouraging, like, hey, if you haven't signed up for Unitas, please sign up. If you need information on how to do that, just send us an email, send us a message on Facebook. That's all we want. We want everyone connected. That's the whole point of the Unitas platform, is we want no veterans falling through the cracks, because the passion is there to help. We just need to make sure that we have the accountability to make sure they're actually getting the services that they need.
And that's actually where the VPAN comes in, right? The VPAN is the handoff, the hard handoff that they help with. Right? Can you explain that? So
Christina Garcia, she's actually the program manager for the VPAN. And what it is, the Veteran Peer Access Network has actually been funded through DMH. And they are having, they're broken up, the Department of Mental Health. And they are broken up into sections of Los Angeles. And they have their squad leaders, and then they have their peer navigators, where they actually are housed in a part of Los Angeles where a veteran can meet them face to face, get connected with the peer, and that peer will make sure that they get connected through the Unitas platform to the resources that they need. So it's not through a computer basis, it's one-on-one, face-to-face. You're talking to another veteran who has navigated these systems to get you connected.
At a safe distance, right?
Well, of course, with masks. And
double max, triple max.
Extra hugs.
But the point
extra hugs.
With a pro mask.
I hear.
But that's the Department of Mental Health recognized that need, and they kind of stepped up and created this program to be like, we need it more to just be than a phone call. Because again, the resources, they've always been there, right? You're handed this giant book to be like, here you go, here are the resources that you have. But now I have to read through that book, and I have to call the numbers and be like, oh, you can't help me. I don't qualify for this, not that one.
Yeah.
And it just gets frustrating. I think a lot of people end up just throwing that book away because they're not getting the help that they need.
And not only that is sometimes the programs are outdated or wrong numbers or something. I noticed that, and so
dude, I went through that book. I remember I got the CalVet book. I don't know if you guys remember the CalVet thick information book. I went through that book when I had recently gotten out. I went through probably half of the book trying to find services because at the time when I had gotten out, I was homeless from like 2011 to early 2012. And I went through that book trying to find resources, and then you exhaust everything before you even have somebody talk to you. And it gets frustrating, man. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome that something like this exists.
So I want to kind of shift the conversation, because this is great information, absolutely, and we can definitely. There's more things gonna come, but let's start talking about your experience in the military.
Yeah.
Will, you could go ahead and kind of take over this because I know you guys, I know you were in the Air Force, so
Air Force.
Well, hold on, the other way. You got to salute like this.
No, we salute like this, bro. Anyways,
we're the same as you. Okay, we came from the
same.
army.
Except the army salutes like French people.
Viva la resistance. No, I'm sorry. All right.
So yeah, Aimee, the big question, you are United States Air Force, now reserves, Master Sergeant. What's your experience? I mean, you're especially in your field because you're a cop, right? Or security forces.
Security forces. We have a fancy
in the Air Force, but for every other branch, it's MP, military police. But in the Air Force, it's called security forces. How have you dealt with individuals that might treat you a different way because you're a female within the military?
So it's a complicated question. So I like to think that the Air Force is a few steps ahead of other branches because we are kind of assimilated in boot camp, right? Yep. We have our sister flights, our brother flights, and we PT together. We train together. That's how my security forces training was after boot camp. We all did the same training together. So there wasn't that, oh, they're doing less than us or we're doing more than them mentality because we can see each other running the same amount, doing the same amount of sit-ups and push-ups. So I think that in itself, the fact that we were combined kind of lessens the separation between men and women and that divisive culture. But again, just like every other military branch, it's male dominant. And there are things that we have to put up with and work a little harder to deal with. So I would like to say that at least in the military, there's two kinds of women, right? The perspective that people have is you're two kinds of women. It's how's language on here?
No, go for it.
Hey, go for it.
Whiskey here, so
bitch, or you're like, that easy girl. So those are the two ways that someone looks at you.
What are you talking about easy?
You know what I'm talking about, easy. But that's as soon as a new girl came in, it was like, all right, is she cute? Can we sleep with her? And I'd hear these conversations and even trying to mentor the young women that come through in our unit and be like, hey, just get to know everyone. Don't sleep around. Because, in the culture, a lot of people are really young. I at least had the opportunity to join when I was 23 years old. So I was a little older, had some life experience. And I could tell it's very different for like my 18-year-olds, my 19-year-olds, my 17-and-a-half-year-olds. So there's still struggles. No matter how, at least in my experience in security forces, no matter how hard a woman worked, there was always that, you got that because of your vertical stripe. Like I don't know if you guys ever heard that terminology.
Yeah. I've never heard that.
And that's how I was talked to. So at least when I was in the Air Force, I got below the zone.
Yeah.
So I made
E4
6 months ahead of schedule, and you have to compete for that, right? You have to put in your bullets and see what you did. And
I got drunk and lost it.
And there was no congratulations. It was like of course you got it. You have a vertical stripe. That was the first comment I got. Instead of a congratulations, it was that.
Wow.
I was like, oh, well, I
Wow.
mean, I worked kind of hard for it. And they're like, no,
Who
it was
is
your
this
vertical
motherfucker?
strike. I remember
Wow.
that. You know, he said it in jest. It was said in jest, but of course, you know,
Wow.
they say everything in
Yeah.
jest has some
Yeah,
component of
everything.
truth to it.
Yeah, the truth is said in jest. Just kidding. Just playing. Just the truth is
Yeah.
said in jest.
Yeah,
But
but
you know,
people have this perception of women in the military, right? Like, oh, you don't work as hard. Men have to do more for you because you can't do as much as men. But honestly,
I've heard that.
those kind of women were actually just few and far in between. Most women that I worked with were the same badasses that you would think any military personnel should be. There was very few times in my career where I encountered a woman that's like, all right, yes, you're pretty and you want everyone to do it for you.
Yeah.
But again, that wasn't my normal experience. Most of the women I worked with that I'm still, you know, very good friends with, they were beautiful badasses in every shape.
So you have two choices. Right? I'm
Yeah.
going to explain it right now.
Oh.
No, because you just mentioned it. You have two choices. You're either a bitch or you're loosey goosey. And
loosey
That's
goosey.
a common misconception.
So one thing that I, you know,
That's
my wife,
what people think.
Yeah,
Is
that's what people think, right? So I think that,
You know-
like, my wife says, you know, as veteran, she said that, you know, women in the military, they feel like they have to change their perspective, you know, especially when you're like, you know, young. They have to change the perspective where you got to be too alpha and, you know, be like a bitch, or, you know, or you just kind of be submissive. But what about embrace the womanhood, right? Like the woman type of perspective, because that's something that.
And I wish it was that easy, but it was actually very difficult for me to find a woman mentor when I was, you know, a very new airman. I found one, her Tech Sergeant Zidell, badass, wonderful human being. But I remember this experience, and it still stayed with me because I'm like, damn, like I thought me going to you and asking for this help would have been like, hey, girl, I got you. So there was a staff sergeant who shall remain unnamed. And I remember she was part of the SWAT team that we had there, and she was in investigations. And my whole goal was, I want to be an investigator. That's exactly what I want to do. So I remember going up to her and asking, like, excuse me, ma'am, you know, I'm trying to be in the same position that you are. Is there any way that you can kind of guide me in the direction of what I should be doing in order to get there? And she was like, yeah, you just got to work really hard, and walked away.
Wow.
That was what her response was. Didn't really care, didn't really look up at me to see who I was. That was her response, that it's like, well, I worked hard, so you worked hard. That's what sucks about finding a mentor, right? If one woman has to work really hard to get to where she's at, it's like, well, I don't want to help you get it so easy. You need to work hard too. We don't have that same good old boys club that the men have, where they just boost each other up. Women are a lot more competitive in that sense. So it's really hard to find a mentor.
I agree.
You know, as I was an instructor in the Air Force, basic military training. We call it MTIs in, you know, Marine Corps DIs, and for you Army drill sergeants. But drill sergeants,
drill sergeants,
drill sergeants, DSs. I got to experience, you know, teaching a female flight, and I'll be honest with you, I found some females that probably could whoop the shit out of half of these males sometimes. You know, like they were some really tough ones, and there was some that were a little more not as tough. I would say that.
Fragile, a little more fragile.
But one thing I did notice is that it's like competitiveness to put one another down versus pick each other up completely. There's a lot of difference between what a female recruit does and what a male does. I mean, like, for instance, drill for me was super easy to teach females because they're just very organized and a lot cleaner than males. You know, we're just stinky. Beat a hand once. I'm sure, and you know, that's the thing. Like, we used to have sometimes the pugil sticks, and some females wanted to go up against a male and have at it. You know,
I actually know that I did that comment, and I'd believe it.
Yeah. So,
I believe you.
So I'll never say that I'll knock any female down for being a female, but you know, talking about the mentorship, you know, I kind of want to hear a little bit more about that. What knowledge would you pass on right now to the viewers, females that are in the military, as far as mentorship? What is something that you would like them to grow into? First, to start from initial, like first unit they arrive to, all the way down, to they become mentors themselves, E5s, E6, E7s. What advice do you give?
I mean, to me, it just, you have to be open to wanting to be a mentor. First of all, if you are just like, I made it here, I don't need to help anyone, everyone else. And it's true, a lot of women did, set their own ground. They had to break down barriers themselves. And I understand that mentality. But at the same time, why not pave that way for someone else instead of, covering your trail? So that's just what I want to encourage, because we do it. The mentality is, right, take care of your own. We're
Yeah.
always saying to each other, take care of your own. But in reality, even males, when they find someone they want to mentor, it's usually someone that resembles themselves, has something about from the same place as them, same culture. We tend to gravitate towards what we know. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, as a woman being told, like, well, you only got that because you're a woman, then I have to stand up to a bunch of other men to prove that conversation wrong. So it makes it a lot harder for us to want to be like, well, let me help this girl, even though everyone's already looking at her like, well, of course you're going to help her. It's a woman. Everyone helps women out. And we got to break that mentality. We really do. It's got to change, and it has to change from, the top down, bottom up, both ways, to where women want to take care of women. And the ironic thing about it is that if you meet a veteran woman, she is all about female vets. She 100% like, I want to help women veterans. This is my passion. This is what I don't think I've met one single woman veteran who isn't in some capacity helping vets and focused on women veterans. Because we know what we went through. We all experienced it in some capacity, in some shape while we were active. But it's like, well, we got to change that from active duty. We got to make sure that we take care of each other while we're there. So when we come out, it's like that warm hug. Like, I knew you were taking care of the women while you were in there. I'm happy that the next generation that's going to come out is ready, prepared, and taking care of the future women. Because women are still a minority in the military.
Yeah.
It's growing, but we're still a minority. We have 193,000 female veterans in California alone. But about 2 million, I could be wrong on this, but about 2 million active duty females serving.
Wow.
You can Google that, fact check me.
The numbers right.
I think those numbers are right.
You got to do your Facebook and fact check.
I think those numbers are right. I think it's about 2 million women serving on active duty status and about 193,000 female veterans in California.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of us out there. Even though we're the minority, we're a huge group. Women veterans have very specific needs, things that we've dealt with. And we need to be there for each other. And I think that's kind of the reason why I stayed in. Because active duty, it was hard. It was rough. Not the job itself, but the culture. Being around that toxic culture kind of made it difficult. But I love putting on my uniform. I love showing up. I love trying to be that mentor. And I don't pick and choose who I want to have as my mentee. It's like everyone who's under me, everyone who asks that question, I want to provide that guidance to. Because that's how we should be. You shouldn't be like, well, no, I don't really like you, so I don't want to do that. It's like, no, if you're going to put on that rank and you're going to stay in that service and you're going to do the job to the people coming after you.
Yeah. You know that, and that's one thing that I always tell people is you need to look for your mentors and that are out there. I don't think I've ever asked somebody, hey, can you be my mentor? And they say no, but like you said, there is some.
That's a tricky one though, because even though they'll say yes, but they don't even know how to mentor, or just
it's a learning experience. Sometimes you got to find the person that you want to that is in the position that you're trying to get to. So I have mentors for everything, but one thing you brought up, Aimee, just recently was talking about the difference of needs for females in the military, veteran females. Have you had to deal with the VA at all yet, with as far as like female issues?
So not with the VA. I'm still currently serving.
Reservist.
Yeah, I've never actually. The only time I went to the VA was to get a COVID test and then a COVID vaccine. So,
Oh, okay.
but
And what about medical as far as in the reserves? I mean, I know you have your monthly checkups or yearly checkups that you got to do, your PHAs. Have they adapted? Have you seen a change or transition from the time you came in back in 2011 to now, as far as tailoring more to females in the military in general?
I don't want to talk poorly about my branch's service.
Do it. I want to hear
I
it.
think there's still a lot. I mean, I'm still in, so I could only say I still think there's a lot of things that need fixing, and I'll give you an example where I think. So on my deployment, when we were about to come back, you know how we have to do our PHAs in person, and then it's 30 days, 90 days, blah, blah. So I remember I was in my, the initial evaluation with a social worker, a psychologist, a mental health professional. And I remember he was asking me like, oh, you know, do you have any thoughts of wanting to hurt or kill yourself? I was like, no. He's like, do you have any thoughts or feelings of wanting to hurt someone else? I was like, all the time. And I did say it as a joke, but I remember he put down his notebook, he looked up at me and he's like, you mean no, right? And I was like, yeah, no. And he just kept going with the assessment. I'm like, what if I really did want to hurt somebody? That is your responsibility to make sure that I was actually joking. And if not joking, or even if there's some
followed up with more questions.
There should have
followed up with more questions.
So
no, but he didn't want to do the paperwork. So he was like, you mean no, right?
And that's disheartening, because what happens when someone really does have that need? What if one time that person goes in there and they're not joking?
I think that's the way. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's when I think doctors kind of get training as far as like understanding body language and see if someone's really playing around or not. Because there's some people that actually will get that kind of like little tick mark and say like there's issue with them when they never say anything about it, you know.
Which is true. So I didn't actually want to hurt anyone, but I was actually kind of going through some stuff through my deployment with how you know treatment was going and some of the people that I was. So it would have been nice to actually have a conversation. Like, yes, I wasn't going to act on anything, but maybe taking a few more times and just going through your 1 through 10 questions of, hey, let me talk to you. Let's see what's going on. So I think that's where most branches still aren't set. And that is a mental health professional that I was working with. So that means, and they have training, like you were saying, right? They're trained on body language, on different gestures. But what happens when you're talking to someone who doesn't have that training, like your supervisor or your commander or your first sergeant that doesn't know what to look for? So if we can't catch it by professionals, how the hell is someone who's directly working with you?
We get suicide prevention. We get the CBT.
Bro, that's my PowerPoint, bro. Slides. Certified.
Not enough. I'm sorry. That 1 year.
You're supposed to watch the video and the self-assessment. You know, you're supposed to do that.
Yes, at CBT. They've been started in person for quite some time, but it's not enough. It's definitely not enough. So that was just a blanket mental health portion. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. A lot in regards to taking care of the needs of women veterans. And, you know, again, I haven't worked with the VA in that sense, in that capacity, because I'm still serving. I never wanted to file for anything. I never wanted to go there. I'm still in, and I try to avoid it, not to be quite honest, initially. So no, once I get a disability rating, I can't go in. I can't do the reserves. I had that mentality, and I just never went in.
So I have a question, and I'm going to kind of shift fire on this one. Sorry, guys, because I have to kind of keep everybody on track. All right. My question to you, because I've been asking everyone this. What is your favorite MRE?
Did you eat
what
MRE?
What is an MRE?
Oh, damn. What?
I'm kidding.
Come on.
We still have basic training.
I'm even surprised that Will knows what an MRE is.
Okay. Security forces is like, you know, we had it rough. We had it Air Force rough, you know, so it wasn't rough. But you know, our hotel room doesn't always have
I remember they would get their lunches delivered to their post.
Our mermites, we did. While I was deployed in Afghanistan, we had mermites, you know, where they kept the food hot, and we go down our little tower and then serve ourselves. But chili mac That was my favorite at Market.
Yeah.
Chili
Yeah,
Mac.
I
All right.
love Chili Mac. That's my
And
favorite.
then you
That's
have
my
to
favorite.
barter, you know, where you'd be like, hey, can I please have, I don't like crunchy peanut butter. Can I get the jalapeno cheese? And you have to, you have to work real hard to.
Yeah, you gotta bargain and stuff. Yeah.
But-
All
Where
right.
you
Cool. Cool.
steps.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Aimee, thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing your experience. We really appreciate it.
Especially last minute.
Yeah, exactly. This is great information because for those that are looking to get into the military or in the military, look for a mentor. And it's trial and error, and see which one works best for you, who you can really connect with, and also thank you for honestly taking over the LA Collaborative, because I know there's going to be a lot of great things happening. So we're excited about this.
Especially with that new taps that they're looking at.
Well, it's an awesome team. I'm telling you, when you look at all the components working together to build this thing, we have an amazing team. It's not just me by myself. So
Yeah.
that's not just the program manager, not an executive director. It's a whole umbrella of organizations that are like, this needs to get done and it needs to get done now. And that's
Absolutely. So for those that are just curious or interested, just go to the Los Angeles Veterans Collaborative, and you will get more information. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
When is the next meeting?
It is April 14th. It is the second Wednesday of every month forever.
Second Wednesday of every month.
Yes. At 9 a.m., the Women's Veterans and Access and Engagement meet, and then the main meeting is at 10. Salud.
Salud.
Salute, guys. Oh, man. Hey, guys, for you guys that have been watching it, thank you so much. And those for those who have been commenting, thank you so much. Please share this video, like this video, and subscribe to our Tent Hut show on
people
YouTube.
To subscribe. Force people to subscribe.
Yeah, grab them by the neck. Just, and just get them. Exactly, just like that.
Just grab them by the shirt. That's good enough.
Yeah.
I like this shirt.
Right. It's a good shirt.
I'm an alcoholic, bro.
Amoholic.
Amoholic.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like the other shirt. Whiskey helps.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You can't wear that while I'm sitting next to him, and that's just rude.
Right. And whiskey helps me every day. Every day.
Every day.
All right.
Guys. All right, Tent Hut. Thank you so much. Hey, remember, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure you guys like this video, share this video, and subscribe to our channel. All right. Till next time. Take care.